sure the volume's up. Thank you. All righty. Welcome back, everyone. It's another beautiful day here in my apartment in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, and I hope that you're having a great time out there wherever you are too. So welcome to episode 2 of Art Class with Herm. I hope everyone's having a great day. I want to give a big shout out to that wonderful new intro, that little picture of me drawing. I've never looked handsomer. Thank you to Darren for putting that together. And big shout outs to my friend Jason at GQ is his handle on Instagram, GEEQUE. He is an awesome Mets fan. He's an awesome photographer, and he was really gracious enough to pop that picture up for us. So make sure you check him out. Anyway, welcome back. My name's Herm. I am a Brooklyn-based illustrator and graphic journalist. So I love to draw the Mets. Obviously, I'm a big Mets fan, and I love to draw sports in general. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have a lot of fun, and we are going to be drawing Homerun apple today, which is really fun. And then we're going to end up our drawing session today by talking about and drawing some of our favorite ballpark food. But before we get into that, I just wanted to welcome you again. I hope you were able to come to our last class on Monday. If not, feel free to scroll back. You can check those out on all of the social media platforms for the 7 Line, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And we drew Mr. and Mrs. Met. That was a lot of fun. So I wanted to say thank you for everyone for tuning in. And awesomely thank you to everyone that posted your drawings. They made this freckly little heart pound. It was so awesome. Those pictures were really, really great, and everyone did a tremendous job. So I've never seen a brighter world with so many Mr. and Mrs. Met drawings in it. Cool. So what was really fun is we did get to choose a couple of I don't want to say winners, but we just picked a couple of people whose drawings that we really liked. And the 7 Line was gracious enough to give out some $10 gift cards for anything on their website, which is really nice. So I do want to announce those people. So we chose Dylan, age 12. We have Mason, who's age 6, and Avery at age 9. These Mr. and Mrs. Mets were awesome. I love the colors, the backgrounds, the hands, the waving. It was awesome. So you guys all get a $10 gift card for the 7 Line. May I recommend the emoji Mr. Met drawing? That's a favorite of mine. Anyway, but yeah, you guys are great. So today, just like we did last time, but if it's your first time tuning in, pretty easy in terms of our material list. We're going to just need any type of paper that you want. Here, I just have some regular computer paper. You know, you might just have that laying around in a drawer or something like that. Or just you could use the back of any drawing, things like that. Now, what we're going to be, we can use some crayons. I guess some handy dandy Crayolas. You can see that they have some wear and tear on there. Just some markers, perhaps, if you wanted to use. A pen, anything like that. There's really no rules here, which is fun. I'm going to be using my Pentel brush pen just because this is my favorite drawing instrument. And make some really cool lines on there. All right, so let's get started. Cool. So, actually, I'm joking with you. I got a little ahead of myself. So we are going to draw our Homerun apple here first. But before we do that, I do want to tell you how much I want to stress that you got to warm up a little bit before you start to draw. Just like if you were going for a run or going for the gym, you do your stretches and things like that. So the best way I can recommend doing that is like everybody, let's stand up for a second. I'm going to sit because I'm in camera. And let's just put our hands out and we're just going to wave our fingers a little bit. Kind of, like tighten those muscles, loosen them out. Let's let the blood flow. You can give a couple of claps, all that fun stuff. All right. Nice and loose. Excellent. Our drawings are going to be amazing. Cool. All right. So we're going to be drawing a Homerun apple today, which is by far one of my favorite things to visit at Citi Field or even at Shea Stadium back in the day. So any of you familiar with this? This is the old school Homerun apple from Shea Stadium, and it's right in front of Citi Field. So the way I like to draw it is we're going to have the Homerun top hat with the apple coming out, and then we're going to draw some flowers in there. And we'll talk about like some spacing in it, some bigger ones in the front and some smaller ones in the back. All right. Cool. So we got our paper right here. I'm just going to pop that down. And we're going to grab our drawing pencil or pen or crayon, whatever you got. And let's get into it. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw our apple. So I'm going to take you through step-by-step how to do this, but feel free to jump ahead if you'd like. There are really no rules on this. We're just having fun. So in order for me to start off, I like to have like a point that I start with. And that's going to be on our top right here. I'm going to draw the top of our apple. And how I do that, I'm just going to take a little loop here. I'm going to come up and then bend just like this. So I'm starting with this little wavy line. Anyone that tuned in to our episode on Monday with Mr. METS, this line might look a little familiar. That's the same line we use when we make the brims of his hat. So good to know that you can use that line for many different options on there. All right, so this is going to be the top of our hat where our apple and our leaf are going to sit. So before we add our apple and leaf, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line on this side right here just to get a nice curve for the apple on here. So I'm going to start up a little bit up on our line there. And I'm just going to bring a line down just like that to get a nice little bend on it. Yeah, so you can start to see something. I promise it'll look like an apple in a second. So we got our nice little bend there. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to draw the stem of our apple. That's like the part at the top. So in order to do that, we're going to pick where we want it. I'm going to draw mine right about here in this area right here. So the first thing that I'm going to draw on the stem of my apple is just a circle. Just a nice little circle, just something like that there. That's going to be the top of our apple stem. Now I'm going to come into this little bend that we made, and I'm going to connect from the bend and make a curved line to the side of our circle there. So I'm basically going to come up just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the side there. All right, so now we have a little of our apple stem right there. And what apple, Homerun apple, is not complete without a little leaf? So in order to do that, what we're going to do is I'm going to start on this side of our apple stem right here. And you can see right there. And I'm just going to come up. And I'm going to draw a bendy line, another wavy line, very similar to that line that we started with. We're just switching the positioning of it. Great. So now I'm going to do the same thing, but on the other side of the apple stem right now. So I'm going to come right up here, make that bend, and I'm going to stop right at the point of our stem here. That way it looks like that our apple leaf is behind the stem. And then I'm going to come around and then connect it in the back just like this. You guys can see right there. Now I do it like that just so it looks like the leaf is bent a little bit. And I think it just gives a nice little form to the apple there. Great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to finish off the other side of our apple. So in order to do this, I'm just going to come up a little bit. So I'm not going to connect it from this part of that line there. I'm going to come up, maybe about a little less than half of the apple leaf right there. So right there. Then I'm just going to take my pen and I'm going to make that little curve mark right there. So now, as you can see, we're starting to get a little bit of an apple, right? I told you, if you trust me, I'll take you on this journey. All right. So just for fun, let's add a little decoration to our leaf right here. So I'm just going to add like a little line right down the middle like that. And then another little line on the side. The reason I added this is it kind of gives like a little dimension to the leaf. That way you can see a little bit. It's not just like this round kind of shape on there. Awesome. Cool. All right, so before we get into our top hat in here, let's go ahead and we're going to draw the MET logo in the middle there. So in order to do this, pretty straightforward, I'm going to start with a circle right in the middle. There we go. So if you've ever seen it, there's like that apple right there with circle, right on the apple there. So now that I have a circle there, I'm going to take another little circle and place it on the inside here. Hopefully yours looks better than mine, but Again, no rules here. We're all having fun. So basically, the reason I put this little outside line there is that's going to be really fun when you go and color it later. You have a little bit more color. All right. So in the middle here, I'm going to write the METS logo. So there's a number of ways you can do this. We talked about that the last episode. You can write it by hand. You can make bubble letters. You can put it in script. I'm going to do like a bubble letter script form. So I'm just going to write our METS. And this is a little tricky here, but if you're watching it, not in the live stream, feel free to pause it and kind of copy what I'm doing. But if you are in the live stream, hey, how you doing? All you got to do, you can just kind of follow along with what I'm doing right there. Just drawing the outside of what that logo would look like. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, in the METS S, there's always like this little like bump at the end. And that's like if you were writing script, it kind of comes up a little bit. So I'll give everyone a second to catch up there. So we're getting somewhere. It's looking like an apple, I told you. All right, so you can get as detailed as you want in the METS logo up here. But me, I don't like to get too crazy with it. But I do like to add my favorite parts. We have the bridge right here. So I'm just gonna make like 2 lines that connect from the bottom up there, side to side, and give a little gap. And then what I'll do is we're gonna add like 2 little like pillars here, and they're just gonna be 2 lines or 2 little rectangles I'm gonna put on either side of it. And this is what's gonna be like the support of our bridge. And then I'm just gonna connect them with like a smiley face in the middle there. And then like 2 other little curved lines on both sides of it there. So we have our bridge. Does anybody know what bridge this is? I think it's the Verrazano, but correct me in the comments if I'm incorrect. Anyway, so then now that we have our bridge right there, I'm gonna add these little lines right here. Nothing too crazy. I'm gonna space them out a little bit just to give a little dimension and form to our bridge there. So we got something. So here's a little close-up so you guys can take a look. There we go. All right, so in the back, if you've ever seen the METS logo, and I'm sure you have, there are some buildings in the back, that beautiful New York skyline. So what I'm gonna do now is I am not gonna draw perfect buildings. I'm just gonna take my pen and I'm gonna kind of come up and down, and make some like, just kind of fun looking squiggly lines, basically. Kind of like when you see like, you know, like an earthquake meter or something like that, it goes up and down. That's kind of like what we're gonna do in the back. That way it gives us the perception of the city without sitting here all day drawing out all those buildings. All right, so we're getting there. So last thing I'm gonna add is like, I'm gonna make this like exclamation kind of mark on the side here. Let me show you what I mean. This kind of part right here on the apple. Now the reason I'm gonna do this is it kind of gives like a shine to the apple. So it makes it look a little more 3D in a way. And this is really fun. So what I'll do here is I'm just gonna kind of make like this little bit of a curved line there. And then I'm gonna make like a little baby kind of curve on there. And then come up. And then twist like that. So you can see that I didn't connect the lines fully on that. And the reason that I do that is it's just like, it kind of breaks it up. So it doesn't look like it's a part of it. It's like a shine in a way. And then just for fun, I'm gonna add another little kind of like a broken up circle on the bottom there. So now we kind of have like a little shine to our apple right there. Great. All right. So now let's add the top hat, which is my favorite part. So in order to do the top hat, we're going to make like a curved line, a little curve, nothing too crazy. And that's going to be the front of our hat. So I'm going to pick a point here. So I'm going to maybe right about here and then right about here. So these are my curve points that I'm putting there. And I'm just doing this for, you don't have to do this yourself, but I'm just doing this just for, so you know where I'm going with it. And I'm just going to take a curve, come across, and build like this. So this is basically the part where our apple is gonna like go into it. So I'm just gonna connect it here because I made my line a little too low. There we go. So when they hit a home run or not, our apple's gonna go up and down. Great. So now that we got that curved line right there, what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna make just a line going down on either side, not either, both sides of our little curved line right there. So this is going to be the brim of our hat. So now, just like we did with this line here, this curved line, we're going to do the same thing right underneath it. But we're going to connect this point and this point right here. So again, I'm just going to take my pen. I'm going to come across right there. So this is going to be, you can see now, this is like the front of the top of our top hat. All right, so now let's give it a little definition in the back. So what I mean by that, see this, I'm going to connect this point and this point of the apple with a curved line. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side here. That way it looks like the apple is in front of it. So I'm just going to take my pen again. I'm just going to make a curved line. Come up just like that on the side. And then do the same thing on the other end there. There we go. So now it looks like the apple's like kind of like going into this hole in our paper basically, which is kind of a fun little effect on it. All right. So now what we're going to do is let's draw the, I don't know how you call it, the top part of the top hat, if I may. Any hat enthusiasts, please feel free to correct me in the in the comments there, old-timey hat guys and gals. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to draw two lines. Well, I'm going to draw one line here and one line right here. And again, that's so the hat can like kind of go into it, or that the apple can go into the hat. So just be mindful of that when you make your line. So I'm going to draw mine like right here, and then another one like right about here. Okay. So now that I have my set, I'm going to come down. And I'm just going to draw a line down just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing back there. So now we have a pretty good representation of what our home run apple is going to look like. So now one of the most fun parts is we're going to write home run on the front. Now this is where we can get a little creative. If you want to write your name, you can write, Andrew Hermida, or Herm is the best. Feel free to get crazy and you can write whatever you want on there, like let's go Mets, certain things. But I'm going to show you how to write home run. So in order for us to get a curve of it, so it looks like that the apple is round, kind of like what we did up here, I'm going to pretend that there's this curved line right here. And I'm going to write home run like that. So let me show you what I mean. So starting on the side here, I'm going to write like a little bit of my H. And let me show you what I mean before you start putting your pen to paper there. So I put like, see how the H is kind of hidden a little bit there? That way it looks like it's a little bit rounded. So I'm going to continue on with it to get to home right about here. I'm just going to make my letters a little bigger as they go. But there's my O. There's my M. It's not coming out exactly how I wanted, but it's all right. We're having fun, right? We're just writing home right now. And that E in the middle, right in the front there, that's going to be my biggest point. So there we go. We got something. So it says home. Now I'm going to write run. So I'm going to have a nice R. So I know these bubble letters can be kind of tricky to draw, but don't stress it. Just have fun. What's cool too is if like you don't like the way your drawing's coming out right now, you can always draw it again. Wow, lots of fun. And then my home run here, I'm gonna make my N kind of disappear a little bit into there. So you can see what I'm getting at. Again, it's not as beautiful as what I did when I had all the time in the world. Look at that. Well, we just have like a nice home run right there. So you can see how it's kind of rounded out. All right. So now what we're going to do is my favorite part is we're going to draw some flowers on it. So like I had here. So not only are these flowers going to look really cool, especially when we color them in, it's going to be a nice way to break off the bottom part of our home run apple here. So let me show you how to draw a flower. A lot of you might know how to do this already, but the way I like to do it, all I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a circle. Just a circle like that. And then I'm just going to make some loops. Just like that. Little loops like that. And I'm just going to continue to do that. Little flowers all around. Now this part, this is fun. You can make however many flowers you want, as big as you want, and wherever you want. There are no rules here. You can draw some tulips or I don't know any other flowers, but not tulip flowers, get crazy with it and you can have fun. So what's cool with this is like you have some flowers in the back here. So when you get farther or like closer back over here to the Homerun apple, you can make your flowers a little smaller. So it looks like they're in the back in the distance. And maybe your flowers in the front, they can be a bit bigger. Because when you are looking at something, whatever is in front of you is always a bit bigger than the things that are in the back. And then I'm going to draw maybe a flower stem. So just like this kind of tube on the back. Maybe another little leaf, kind of like we did at the leaf at the top there. And I'll just continue filling in these flowers. So while we're doing that, I have my comments open up here on our live feed. So feel free to let us know who you are, where you're drawn from, how you're doing, and we can have a little chat. So I'm just adding some flowers around here. I don't know if you guys can hear my dog is bouncing around. I have one of my iPads being held up with her favorite rawhide bone. And I didn't realize how much torture would be for her. She keeps sniffing it. Sorry. All right, and then just some little flowers in the back. Yeah, this is fun. This is fun because you can go on autopilot and just have fun making all these flowers there. And if you want to get really crazy, you can draw maybe some little squiggly lines in the middle there. Maybe some little dots. Your flowers can look however you want. Yeah, this is fun. It's nice and relaxing. Some more flowers there. So I'll just do a couple more. Just so you guys aren't like, okay, Herm, we get it. These flowers are beautiful, but I don't want to do it all day. I understand. We're having fun though. It's looking cool. All right. So feel free to draw as many of those flowers as you want. I'm going to stop right there just so we're not just drawing flowers all day long, even though they are pretty beautiful. But I hope that you are enjoying this. And feel free to just keep continuing these flowers all day long. And as you can see, we have a home run apple. Pretty cool, right? Guys did pretty awesome. So what's really nice about that is when you feel free to color them right now, again, you can grab your crayons or your markers and just go crazy with it. What I like to do is I usually draw maybe these parts white or green, and maybe the yellow in the middle, or blue, or pink, any color you want. That's totally awesome right there. Awesome. So while you guys are doing that, let's see. Oh, we got someone from Texas. That's awesome. Hey, Kat. Man, Texas, that's really cool. We got Dylan from Long Island. That's great. Let's see. Hopton Plains, New Jersey. I'm originally from New Jersey myself, down the shore, as they say. Oh, Jacqueline from Brooklyn, what's up? Oh, Connecticut. Some abstract coloring. That's what I like. All right. So keep going with that. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to move on to our next part here. And feel free to keep coloring there. I'm going to be talking for just a little bit. All right. So I want to talk about and draw some of the most delicious food on the planet, baseball food, ballpark food, as it's called, I guess. So that's my favorite thing about going to a baseball game, besides, seeing everybody and all my favorite players, is I really love sampling the local cuisines, and Citi Field is no stranger to that. So it's really fun. So I just drew a couple of my favorite things here. You know, I love hot dogs, and popcorn is my absolute favorite thing. Mama of Corona's Italian sandwich. Oh my gosh, I could live off those all day long. They're so good. We got some hamburgers and peanuts and maybe a seltzer water. That's my favorite thing to drink. Pepperoni pizza and such. So what we're gonna do now is I'm not gonna sit here and draw all this food for you. I think we'd get pretty bored. But I do want to talk about how to draw a hot dog. And then I'll show you how to draw a hot dog. And then what I'd like you to do is feel free to, in the comments there, maybe rattle off some of your favorite food to eat at the ballpark. And then, if it's not too hard to draw, I'll show you how to do it. Maybe don't get crazy and write like a triple-decker sandwich with all the toppings or something. I'm not that skilled, but I would try it. Sounds delicious. All right. So, oh, hey, Jen from Illinois. That's cool. Man, this is awesome. Forest Hills. This is great. Indiana. That's awesome. Hey, Brian. Man, this is so cool. Thanks for everybody for joining. You're making me feel great. All right, let's get to a hot dog. All right, so we have our piece of paper right here. And again, feel free to use your crayons, markers, anything you want to do. But in order to draw a hot dog, there are many, many ways. But I like to draw the first part of the bun first. Let me show you what I mean. I always like to start with like this part, like this front part of our bun. And once you get that set up, depending on how you lay it out or how you how you have it like diagonal or sideways or something, we can kind of work on the way that our hot dog is going to be, you know, kind of looking at us. So we're going to start with this kind of hot dog right here. And I'm going to draw this like kind of like a blob shape. It's almost like kind of like Mr. Met's shoes we talked about last time, where it's almost like a heart. But instead of making it like pointy in the middle or at the bottom, we just kind of round it off there. But let's pop that in right now. So I'm going to go pretty fast with this just to go through, but it's just going to be that blob or that like rounded heart part. So I'm just going to come up with a curve at the top. Let me change it so you can see. I'm going to come down with that smiley face and then round up right there. So we got a little hot. My lines are a little shaky because I was holding the pen weird, but it's not. You get the point there. So that's like our front part of our hot dog bun. So now what I like to do here is I'm going to put our mustard on here, or ketchup, or whatever you like to eat on it. I like mustard personally. So to make the mustard, I'm going to kind of pop it in right here. And it's going to look like this, kind of like this little squiggly line up there. So, you know, when you put your mustard on, you kind of get a little, you can have fun with it. You can write your name on it and all that stuff. Great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make like this squiggly line. So I'm just going to come here. I'm just going to go like this. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Just like that. So now that we have this squiggly line, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of it. And then I'm going to connect them with a little bump here. So I'm going to take my bump. I'm going to do the same thing. Just follow it. Up and down, up and down, up and down there. So now you can see we have our condiment on there, or, you know, our hot dog ketchup or mustard on there. Great. So now that we got our mustard on there, let's actually draw the hot dog itself. So in order to do the hot dog, it's kind of fun. We're going to do like two little I guess letter C, or like that horseshoe shape on it. So I'm going to start like right here on the left-hand side, right there, so you can see. And I'm just going to come up. And I'm going to make that little bit of a bump right there. So you can see that's one part of our hot dog. Now I'm not going to connect it in the middle yet. We're going to get there in a second. But on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. So you can see now we have our hot dog right there. Now here, so I'm going to kind of connect the back of it, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I leave some space in between so it's like behind the ketchup or the mustard that we made. And to do that, I'm just going to connect my hot dog here, come across. I'm going to pause, make it right there, and there. So now we got almost a good, delicious hot dog, right? We got one half of the bun. We got our hot dog mustard on there. We have our hot dog itself. let's draw that other bun in the background. So in order to do this, I'm gonna kind of do like another bump that comes in the back. So I'm gonna start like right about here, and I'm gonna make a curved line to right about here. I'm gonna come up just like this. There we go. So you can see we have a delicious hot dog. Not too bad, right? So just a little fun little measure that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add another little curved line here, kind of broken up a bit, just like we did with that reflection part on the home run apple, like that. So it kind of gives like a little depth to the hot dog bun so it doesn't look so flat. You can pop that on. Not bad, right? So when you're drawing a hot dog, you can draw anything you want on it. So you can draw it with like more ketchup on it, more mustard. I don't know, people like it with onions or relish, things like that. You can add all of that sort of thing in there too. So before we get out of here and you do that, let's draw some popcorn. Sound good? Popcorn is my favorite snack at the ballpark. So popcorn is not too bad. There's a lot of ways to do it. I like to draw popcorn just like this. It's kind of the same shape. And once you learn how to do it, you can make it bigger or smaller and add other little bumps and stuff. And then you've got a ton of popcorn. All right, let's learn some popcorn. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of make like a circle in a way, but it's gonna be like a wobbly kind of a circle because it's not gonna be perfectly round. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm gonna come up, make this little bit of a round. I'm gonna stop just like that. So it's almost a circle, but I'm just not finishing it up all the way there. This is the top part of that popcorn. That's the part that you put all your delicious salt and butter on. Now, let's make the bottom part of our popcorn. So I'm just gonna make some loops here, but I'm not gonna connect it to the bottom of the popcorn. Just some little loops right there. You see it? You get some popcorn right there. And then once you get this, you can do this you can add, that's 3 loops. You can have 4, 5, 6, 50. If you want to have that, would be a crazy piece of popcorn. But the popcorn is yours. I'm not buying it. You're the one that's eating it. Make a couple little more bumps like that. And then you got some popcorn here. And then if you'd like maybe if you didn't connect your popcorn all the way, like I'll show you here, you can like maybe make that horseshoe kind of shape right there. And then you can add like a little line right there to kind of give it, again, just like we did here with the hot dog, but just a little depth there. And maybe some other little parts here. Excellent. So this is just a taste of some, pun intended, just a little taste of some of the food that you can get at the ballpark. But feel free to leave some comments in there, and then we can continue our ballpark food eating drawing challenge on there. And hopefully one day when all this blows over, we'll all be at Citi Field together eating food. We can be cheersing our pretzels and our hot dogs and all that kind of great stuff on it. So let's take a second just to reflect. You came in here today on this, like, it might rain later, but a little gray day, but we threw that all away and we had a lot of fun. We learned how to draw a home run apple, which is cool. And we learned about some of our favorite hot dogs, our favorite foods, not just hot dogs, but we learned how to draw a hot dog and some popcorn and stuff like that. So before we sign out, what I would like to say is you worked really hard on these drawings. You sat down, you learned something today. You spent all the time, you colored it beautifully. You should let the world know who drew it. You don't want somebody stealing that. The internet's crazy, taking credit for your beautiful creation. So let's sign our drawing today. So a lot of people sign their drawings like in the bottom right part of their painting or their drawing, and that's where I'm gonna draw it. But feel free to write it anywhere. You can write it on the hot dog bun. That would be cool. Maybe on the popcorn, things like that. But I like to sign my name just like this. I write Herm. A little smiley face there. Woohoo. And go ahead and date it too. So what's today? So today is March 25th, I believe. Now, the reason that I like to date my drawings, it's a really good way. Like when you go back, like maybe a couple years or a couple months or even weeks from now, and you go back and you keep drawing, you're going to see how much better you got overall. So this is like a really good place card. Like maybe it looks okay now, but after a week of drawing or like over the years, you're like, oh my goodness, this looks amazing. Great. So then I would advise you just to keep and hold on to all your drawings too. Maybe throw them in a folder or something. And then, one day we can all meet up and we can exchange some drawings, or maybe we could show you guys how to make a really great book or something. But I just wanted to say real quick that you guys are better than best. I can't believe how awesome you guys are doing. It was amazing to sit here with you and meet you and talk with you and spend some time with you. Makes me feel really good. And I hope that we can continue this tradition in the next couple weeks, months, however it's going to go. But thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Remember to post your drawings. You can post them on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. That's the one I forget. Make sure to tag the 7 Line. Please tag me at Hermon on Instagram and Herm's Terms on Twitter. And you can hashtag that art class with Herm or delicious food, any sort of thing like that. And I'd love to take a look at them, and I'm going to comment and I'm going to tell you how great you did. I'm going to repost them there. So that's a spoiler alert. But until next time, guys, have a great day, and I can't wait to see you. Bye-bye.